The command deck of the Jaffic warship hummed with anticipation as Commander Eva stood before the viewport, her forearms crossed in a gesture of supreme confidence. Behind her, 10 of the galaxy's most feared warriors stood in formation, their armor gleaming under the red emergency lights that bathed the captured human vessel. Parker sat casually in what remained of his pilot's chair, one leg draped over the armrest, examining his fingernails as if he were waiting for a particularly boring lecture to end. His ship, the modest freighter Wandering Star, had been caught in Jaffic territory, or so Eva believed. Human, Eva's voice dripped with contempt, her translator caller rendering her clicks and hisses into standard galactic. You have trespassed into sovereign Jaffic space. Your vessel is surrounded, your weapons disabled. And now, she gestured dramatically to the 10 warriors behind her, each one a champion from different conquest worlds. My 10 elite warriors surround you. Parker looked up, his brown eyes scanning the assembled fighters with the mild interest one might show a grocery store display. Then, inexplicably, he smiled. Not a nervous smile, not a desperate smile, but a smile of genuine amusement. Perfect, he said, his smirk widening. Needed 10. Eva's head tilted, a gesture of confusion among her species. You misunderstand your situation, human. These are not mere soldiers. Krefnak here, she pointed to a massive reptilian warrior, covered in ceremonial scars, has killed over 300 beings in single combat. Zilmora, a lithe assassin with blades for fingers, can phase through solid matter. And Torgash, yeah, Parker interrupted, standing up and stretching like he'd just woken from a nap. I'm sure they're all very impressive. The thing is, Commander, you've made a critical mistake that most species make when dealing with humans. And what mistake is that? Eva's mandibles clicked in irritation. You assumed we're prey. The words hung in the air for a moment before Parker moved. He didn't reach for a weapon. He didn't dive for cover. Instead, he stepped forward, and in that single step, everything changed. Krefnak, the reptilian champion, lunged first, his massive claws aimed at Parker's torso. Parker sidestepped with minimal effort, grabbed one of the creature's arms, and used its own momentum to send it crashing into Zilmora, who had attempted to phase through him from behind. The collision disrupted her phasing ability, and both warriors collapsed in a tangle of limbs. 2 down, Parker said conversationally. Torgash, an 8-foot insectoid warrior, charged next, mandibles clicking in rage. Parker ducked under the first strike, rolled past the second, and delivered a precise kick to the joint of Torgash's rear leg. The warrior stumbled, and Parker used the opening to grab one of its antennae, yanking the creature off balance and sending it sprawling. 3. Eva watched in growing horror as her elite warriors, beings who had conquered worlds, fell one by one. Parker moved like water, like gravity itself bent around him. He didn't fight with rage or desperation. He fought with the casual efficiency of someone performing a routine task. A Volrathi shadow warrior tried to strike from stealth. Parker caught its blade between his palms, twisted, and relieved the warrior of both weapon and consciousness with 2 quick strikes. 4. To Chronex twins, telepathically linked and undefeated in tandem combat, attacked in perfect synchronization. Parker disrupted their pattern by throwing a piece of debris at one while engaging the other, breaking their mental link. Without their coordination, they were simply skilled fighters. And Parker was something else entirely. 5. 6. The remaining 4 warriors attacked simultaneously, finally understanding that individual combat was suicide. Parker grinned. This was what he'd been waiting for. He moved through them like a dancer, every motion economical, every strike precise. A human arm might not have the raw strength of a Jaffic limb, But humans had evolved as persistence hunters, as beings who could calculate trajectories while running, who could throw projectiles with deadly accuracy, who possessed an almost supernatural ability to predict patterns and exploit weaknesses. Within 90 seconds, all 10 of Ava's elite warriors lay unconscious or incapacitated on the deck. Parker straightened his jacket and turned to Ava, who stood frozen, her weapon halfway drawn. "See, Commander, here's what you need to understand about humans," Parker said, walking slowly toward her. "We come from a death world. Every other species we've encountered either evolved as apex predators or prey species that got lucky. Humans were persistence hunters who became apex predators by outlasting, outsmarting, and outfighting everything else on our planet." He stopped a few feet from her, hands casually in his pockets. "We don't have claws. We don't have armor plating. We don't have venom or telepathy or phase shifting. What we have is stubbornness, creativity, and an absurd ability to keep fighting when any sane species would quit. We ran our prey to death across savannas. We threw rocks so well it became a hunting strategy. We domesticated wolves because we wanted friends who are also weapons." Ava's weapon clattered to the floor. "So when you surround a human with 10 elite warriors, you're not creating a trap," Parker continued, his smirk returning. "You're just giving us a workout. Now I'm going to get back in my ship, and you're going to let me leave. And in return, I won't file a complaint with the Galactic Council about Shafik piracy. Deal?" Ava's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agreement among her people. "Wise choice," Parker said, heading toward the airlock. He paused at the threshold and looked back. "Oh, and Commander, next time you want to intimidate a human, you might want to bring more than 10. As Parker's ship disengaged and jumped to FTL, Eva stood among her defeated champions, finally understanding why the Galactic Council had a single word of warning attached to human files. Formidable, not because humans were the strongest, or the fastest, or the most technologically advanced, but because they were human, and that alone was enough.